Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another I Am Him recap. All right. I'm your homie Rob. I'm the life coach and I'm the homie in the space. We got the brother Jay on the line. What's good, brother?
What's going on? What's going on? Good to be back.
Yeah,
Good to be back.
facts. You just had a birthday. You know what I'm saying? We just celebrated your birthday. You know what I'm saying? It's wait, your birthday is actually on the what, the third? And we celebrated
Yeah,
it on the what, the fourth? Or the fourth?
yeah, the third. Happy birthday to me. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Type it up.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, man, my birthday's on the. I usually celebrate it that whole weekend. I usually just celebrate my birthday, um, and do whatever I gotta do to have a good time. So yeah.
Facts. What you do?
So I took care of me. I took care of me. I finally got a massage. I know it sounds basic. I finally got a massage, but I've been needing that. Like in the process of me like trying to let go of things and trying to like just retrain my like nervous system in this
Yeah.
process of becoming like a better self. I had to let go of the things I was stored in my body, like the energy, all these different types of thoughts. And so I felt really like clean after that. I felt like much cleaner. Um, when it comes to just being present. And so I did that, I got a haircut, um, and I just relaxed. I just relaxed. I went to this event. So it was cool.
Oh,
It
that's
was cool.
dope. That's dope. It's funny, like for me, like when my birthday comes, I find it's the hardest goddamn thing for me because I'm used to like going out all the time, like going to like a club or a lounge or whatever. But I feel like as I'm getting older, I don't know if it's with age, it's like I want to be more chill. Like I want to do the self care thing that you do. Like I need a massage. You know what I'm saying? Like I need to do more time for me or whatever. And I feel like I'm leaning more to that as I get older. You know what I'm saying? So this year I might take one out of your book, you know. So but that's what's up. You know, I'm glad that, we got our chat where the fellas definitely showed you love. Shout out to them. You know, the I am him men, they showed you love. And it's dope when people actually, I'm not a happy birthday type of person. Like I appreciate it, I receive it, you know what I'm saying? I'm more of a in detail person, you know what I'm saying? So, for me, I called you and went into details, you know what I'm saying, when I celebrated. But I hate those, well, I can't, yeah, I don't want to say I hate, but I hate those surface levels like happy birthday, especially when it's from people that's like close to you.
Yeah.
I hate that feeling.
Yeah, man. That's exactly, yeah, you are the type of person that likes to go into detail. I remember you were saying before, like, you can't really cash that in. It's no equity when it's just a regular happy birthday. It's like, man, it's got to mean something, especially if it's something special, if it's a special moment. It's like, man, how much, you know, being poured into, how much you meant to me on this birth on when you did this, or how much I've seen you change, like something that adds value that people can cash in and people can remember versus just a generic text like happy birthday. It's like, well, everyone else on my email tells me happy birthday from their automated shit. Like, what is that?
Yeah,
Uh,
it don't. I mean, it's appreciated, but I feel like we need to be more detailed, especially if it's your community, if it's the people around you, if this is people that have done life with you. I think that we need to do a better job at really communicating, especially for men, because a lot of men, like we talked about, shrink our voice and is not vocal, but the practice of being vulnerable in that real stage and showing your homie like, hey bro, I really appreciate you. I think that's deep, you know what I'm saying? But you know again, I'm glad that you had a good birthday. I'm glad that people poured into you. Now, I am him business, man. That kickback that we had last night was crazy,
Man,
bro. Like, first of all, the question was dope. The question was, in real time, when you feel heavy, honestly, like what is your process of how do you process things? You know what I'm saying? And I think the funny thing about the group is that as I'm listening to their responses, people would be like, "Man, I just respond." You know what I'm saying? It's not really a process that a lot of people do, and some people did have a process which was dope, but I think that it's interesting that most people listen to respond, and I know that that seems like it's a normal thing, but man, now that I read a room, I like read into what people say so much and I process so much. It's kind of like, damn, it sucks that, in real time, this is not a thing that we're taught in real time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's not a real thing, and it should be a real thing, especially with a lot of the information that's being put on us to market to us to get our attention to. There's no balance for us. Like we're gonna teach you how to cope with this attention. We're gonna teach you how to give yourself permission to not allow yourself to be consumed by this attention. Um, and it's disruptive. I was gonna say for me, like I when it comes to that question, I was gonna say my story. Like I typically go quiet. I go silent. I sometimes, shut down. Sometimes my voice gets a little raspy, and sometimes when I'm heavy, it's hard for me to even like have a mental thought, like have a single thought where I'm coming up with words to explain how I truly feel. And once my body signals it, that's when I know. That's when my mind just kind of like follows the plan. And sometimes when I don't process stuff, it
Yeah,
adds to the next conversation. It adds weight to, the next situation to where now I'm talking, but I'm responding with a tone that's trying to address a conversation that should have been had
facts.
or should have been addressed within myself. And now we're having a conversation about yesterday. We're spending 30 minutes to have a single conversation about yesterday and not really pushing this conversation to today and what's being brought up. And that's just like the shadow that people don't really see
Yeah.
when you have conversation with people. So
Yeah. I completely agree, man. And it's funny because to that point, like that is the reason why processing is so important. I shared in the group that I think you even pitched it to me. You were like, bro, like as a coach, like what is your process? How did you get to a place where you even started process? And I had
hmm
shared like, man, once I dealt with my big bad wolf, you know what I'm saying? And whoever that was, my big bad wolf, once I deal with them and actually conquered and actually got to a place of me winning that fight. And I hate to put it like a fight, but it was one of those things where the the arc of where my issue is actually conquering that, everybody else wasn't as scary. You know what I'm saying? Once I able to deal with that, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't really a fight. I think for me, it was more or less like knowing where my feet was, actually like standing in my truth of what that was and not caring what my big bad wolf was going to feel about it. You know what I'm saying? And just being like, hey, it is what it is. This is how I'm coming. And you don't have to like it. And was willing to lose that relationship in order for me to survive in the other relationship that I had. So it made it easier for me to deal with other relationships when I actually got to the root of where the problem was. You know what I'm saying? Actually dealt with that. Because
man,
working backwards is, for me, it wasn't working. I had to work forward. So I had to go through the root and then move forward. You know what I'm saying? So, but
yeah, that's very interesting. And I remember it, man. It was beautiful the way it was put, the way you said it. Like when you explained the process, and then you gave an example of like a friend kind of like the interaction between you and your friend wasn't as good, and
yeah,
how life repeated itself after you did the work, which gave you an opportunity to kind of show up as the man you wanted to be and the
yeah,
man you faced and the journey you've been on, and ended up you said for you it ended up being an actual great conversation where it actually made sense.
yeah,
And that was that was one of the beautiful things where it's like man like like kind of like life rewards you. God gave you a second chance, and God, God sees it all. So it was really dope to hear that.
Yeah. And I think that in real time, people think that responding is actually the greatest gift of it all, like winning the fight. And it's like, man, I say it all the time. My voice don't need to be in every room. So for me, I'm like, man, somebody can say something to me and try to hurt my feelings or whatever the case is, and I could be like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes I don't need to respond. Sometimes my process is just like, let me know what you think of me. Let me know because that's all that needs to be said in this conversation. You know what I'm saying? So I think that if we understood that our biggest flex could be actually reading the room and actually knowing how to respond and possibly not responding, like, man, that could be even more powerful, man. So I think
Yeah,
that, pushing that narrative also and just giving the benefits in the space of why that's important, man, I think man, that conversation was supposed to end within 30 or 40 minutes, man. It took up the whole damn time.
man. Literally, literally the whole time, and it was so good. Everyone was just interested because this was what many men in that room face. They're like, I'm new to this. No, I'm new to this too. Like especially when we extended the conversation of, how do you process, with your partner? How do you process with other people? What's that process looking like when things get heavy? Do y'all have solutions? Like, what is that? That that just kept opening the door to new ideas. Like, man, you're right. I I don't know, like, so it's it's different levels when it comes to just like the aspect of, seeing ourselves in communication and what that does when we process things in real time.
Yeah. When it comes to even processing, that was a good question that you threw out. Processing with your partner. And I think that that's so powerful because in most cases we are taught that everybody needs to be in a relationship, right? But every relationship ain't the relationship for you, and being able to process or whatever because you're in it, like how do you think that you're doing with processing in your situation?
Oh, that's a great question. I think for me, um, I am, I'm kind of working on it. When it comes to the process of it, I'm learning to lean on to them more um, when it comes to just surrendering on the things that I think I know about them and the
Yeah,
things that I think I know about myself,
yeah,
and allowing their strengths to really, really, take the floor. Like,
y-
okay, like at first I thought I was a leader of relationships. Um, and now I'm just like, okay, what does it feel like, Jay, to be led, or what does it feel like to learn how to lead?
yeah,
Um, and in this space where I'm still learning about like who I am and where I'm going, I know that one, like me stepping back, making me realize, man, two things can exist. Like I can evolve into, the person I want to be, and at the same time as them, as they can evolve to the person they want to be, and that it can be a thing where we know we're just showing each other fully and experiencing life together. Like that's a real thing. And
yeah,
so when it comes down to processing, I think I just lean on the idea of leaning on not on your understanding
yeah,
and kind of just like we talked about before, like share with my partner, be more authentic with my partner, but also share with them like more of my weaknesses. Like
yeah,
this I'm still not good in this area. I'm still not good in this area. I'm working on this area and being comfortable with that and having more spaces to be just to be vulnerable. Because it does. I feel like, and I'm sounding a little long-winded, but I'm gonna wrap up. I feel like to see someone that you're growing with fully, it puts almost a metric like it puts almost an understanding like, man, I don't have to be perfect to be with you. I can just be.
hmm,
And I think a lot of times, there may be instances where that may be the case in some relationships, but you know, exposing yourself. And I give credit to some of the guys that who show up super authentically in that group,
Yeah.
in the our group, because it just, man, it just makes me. I'm sure it makes other people want to just share what's on their heart and share what they're going through. But that's how when it comes to processing, it's still a work in progress. But I just try to each day, I just try to, be more honest with myself and be more honest with my partner, and make sure that I make room for someone, I mean, for them, when they're going through things or when they have something to share, because it's it's a journey together.
Yeah.
So
I feel you.
it's beautiful.
I always say like for me, it's that communication that you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? I always say communication creates partnerships. And in that
Yeah.
partnership, it's not for me to assume. Like I like clear communication. I'm very vocal. Like man, I really want to believe that it's this way, but can you tell me how I how I'm actually supposed to move in real time? Like what you actually need in real time. How should I communicate with you in real time? Like I am an instruction type of person where I don't like assumptions. Like, you know what I'm saying? You make a fool out of yourself every time you assume. And I do think that there's wiggle room for you can assume and get the grace or whatever, but it's also a beautiful thing when you assume in directions that you know that is solid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that you like
Hmm.
this and we could try this and it'll make people more open to the process. You know what I'm saying? When you get it right, most cases. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I like to lean on that in most cases. But, like you said, it's a work in progress. I don't think that when it comes to actually processing things, I don't think that it ever stops. Because every
Hmm.
situation is not going to be the same process, but it could be the same method that gets you to a process that can actually support you getting the answer that you need.
Right.
I feel like that was a lot. But, you know what I'm saying? If they play it back, it'll make sense. You know what I'm saying? But again, like, this is the reason why our space is so dope. I think this is the
Facts.
reason why so many people need to continuously come to the I am him kickback because in this space we talk about so much, right? It's not just one topic. It's actually it's three different sections that we do that we break down, but it's so much conversation and it's so much building. So if you need a space as a black man to be seen, to be heard, to be validated, to be accepted, I am him is a space where I think everybody is in a judgment mind, but we're not being judgmental. I think that I am him what makes I am him so dope is that it's exclusive to all black men, you know. And so we always open the invitation to any black man that needs to be seen, needs to be heard again. So every week, every Wednesday, tap in. We'll love to have you. All right. Any last words, Jay?
No, I'm good. Just, man, just for all the fellas out there, man, that's dealing with trying to process emotion, trying to process their emotions, just know that you're not alone. Know that there's a space for you. There's a space for where you can relate. There's a space where you can become. So yeah, there's a community out there for you.
And shit, we out.
We out.